As you likely know, emotional freedom techniques came about when Gary Craig, the creator of EFT, wanted to simplify the application of thought field therapy, which is the method from which EFT was born. Thought field therapy was absolutely groundbreaking, and the person we can give thanks to for the creation of thought field therapy is psychologist Dr. Roger Callahan. In a YouTube video published a number of years ago, Dr. Callahan answered the question, what was his most important discovery as it relates to thought field therapy? His answer? Psychological reversal. In this episode, you're going to learn exactly what psychological reversal is, why it is important, and the exact tapping pattern you can use to fix psychological reversal so you can get faster, deeper, better results with your EFT tapping sessions. In addition, I'm going to offer some thoughts about the legacy of Gary Craig. Unfortunately, we did lose Gary shortly after my previous episode of EFT Tapping Junction. The wonderful work of both Roger Callahan and Gary Craig lives on and is, and will help millions upon millions of people all around the world. Hello, Stephen Carter here, your host for EFT Tapping Junction. I do thank you for joining me. I will be sharing this information in two podcasts. First, of course, EFT Tapping Junction, and a second podcast, Energy Healing for Wellbeing. Who is this show for? If you use EFT, emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, or other tapping protocols for self-care or to help others, this show is for you. By way of brief introduction, for more than 4 decades, I've helped thousands of people create healthier, happier, more productive lives using a variety of holistic methods. I've earned multiple trainer and practitioner certifications in an array of methods, to include, of course, emotional freedom techniques, thought field therapy, neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, meditation, and an array of other methods. You'll find more information about my background, along with previous episodes of this show and other shows focused on emotional and physical well-being, by visiting our website at stressreliefradio.com. Psychological reversal. What is it? Why do we care? How does it affect our results? And how can we neutralize its effects? Roger Callahan, the creator of thought field therapy, which of course is the method from which emotional freedom techniques was born, in a video recorded a number of years ago, which I will have linked in the show notes, enumerated all of the discoveries he made over the years that he was developing thought field therapy. Of all the many discoveries, Roger tells us the most important discovery in his view is the discovery of psychological reversal. Roger tells us psychological reversal is reversed polarity in the energy system of the human body. Roger used the analogy of batteries that were installed backwards. This reversal disrupts the normal flow of energy along the meridians, and it creates a subconscious block that sabotages healing, progress, and positive change. Roger observed this phenomenon when some of his clients failed to respond to TFT interventions that were otherwise highly effective for most of his other clients. He viewed it as a literal, energetic Inversion, where the body's natural healing mechanisms and acceptance of positive outcomes are turned against themselves. Psychological reversal, or PR, manifests as self-sabotaging behavior, persistent negative thinking, irritability, procrastination, or a deep-seated belief that one does not deserve happiness, does not deserve success, or does not deserve relief. PR can give rise to guilt, as in blaming yourself for another's misfortune, low self-worth, or subconscious resistance to letting go of fears, depression, anger, or addictions. He described PR as a barrier where the individual subconsciously opposes or blocks their own recovery, even when consciously they are attempting to change or to improve. Roger concluded that PR reverses the body's innate healing polarity, thus effectively sabotaging its own ability to recover. PR can prevent or slow physical healing processes, block the benefits of treatments, not just thought field therapy or TFT or EFT, but all treatments, because the reversed energy state interferes with the body's natural repair mechanism, the natural energy flows in the body. Roger concluded that PR contributes to chronic issues where the person seems stuck despite appropriate treatment because the energy system is working against resolution. PR will reinforce negative moods, repetitive negative thoughts, and resistance to positive emotions. It creates a general state of opposition to well-being, where even desired changes feel impossible, or they are actively resisted at a subconscious level. If you are a practitioner of applied kinesiology, you will see psychological reversal at work when you're unable to get clean and accurate muscle tests as part of your applied kinesiology processes. In virtually every EFT session, you begin that session by tapping the karate chop point. It turns out that when you tap the karate chop point, you're neutralizing the PR effect. However, there are some cases that tapping the karate chop point alone is not enough to handle the PR problem. Unfortunately, this is a common problem for people who are experiencing a serious medical condition such as cancer. This can happen with other medical conditions as well, and it can also happen when someone is highly traumatized. If you are helping someone else or you're tapping for your own issue with EFT or TFT, and those treatments just don't seem to hold, or you're getting very little improvement in the SUD scale, that's when you want to apply the full psychological reversal tapping protocol. One thing to keep in mind, Roger identified 3 types of PR. First, massive PR, which is a reversal in most areas of life. Mini PR, which is a block that kicks in during treatment, and that prevents the treatment from being complete. And recurring PR, which is a reversal that returns as soon as it is corrected. While each of these PR types require specific treatment, the protocol you'll learn here momentarily is going to handle 99.9% of any PR problem. We begin the PR tapping sequence by tapping the side of the hand. This is something we will typically do with an EFT sequence. Tap the side of the hand as if you're beginning an EFT sequence. Tap, tap, tap the side of the hand. tap under the nose. And we're talking here about 10 to 12 taps at each point. After tapping under the nose, tap under the chin. Tap the middle finger acupressure point. Recall it's at the beginning of the nail of the middle finger. Tap the outside corner of the eye and tap the collarbone point. That tapping sequence again, side of the hand, under the nose, under the chin, middle finger, outside corner of the eye, and the collarbone point. If you know applied kinesiology, this is the time you can use muscle testing to determine if you have proper polarity in the energy system. If you do not know applied kinesiology, then go ahead and begin the EFT sequence. You don't need to use the karate chop point again. You can go directly to the eyebrow point, side of the eye, under the eye, etc. Go through your points using an appropriate setup statement and reminder phrase. If you are a TFT practitioner, after you do the PR correction, for most of the issues, I would suggest using the complex trauma with anger and guilt protocol as a reminder after tapping the karate chop point. That algorithm is the eyebrow, under the eye, under the arm, collarbone, tiny finger, collarbone, index finger, collarbone. From there, you do the 9 gamut, and then repeat the complex trauma and anger with guilt algorithm, and then finish with the floor-to-ceiling eye roll. I'm going to have a number of resources for you linked in the show notes, to include the PR tapping points, how to tap the 9 gamut, and how to tap the floor-to-ceiling eye roll. You'll recall in our last episode, I shared that Gary Craig had turned all of his EFT resources to include his Palace of Possibilities website to Dr. Gabriel Rudin to continue Gary's work. Sadly, just a few days after Gary turned those resources over to Gabriel, Gary passed away peacefully while in his sleep. As we might expect, there were many, many tributes to Gary. I'd like to share one of those tributes from the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology, or ACEP. Their announcement reads, "It is with profound sadness that we share the passing of Gary Craig, the originator of emotional freedom techniques, or EFT, and a pioneer whose work profoundly shaped the field of energy psychology. Gary's legacy is extraordinary. Through his curiosity, compassion, and unwavering commitment to helping others, he developed EFT. This simple yet powerful approach has supported countless people in releasing emotional pain, healing trauma, and opening new possibilities for well-being. His generosity in freely sharing this work touched practitioners, clinicians, and individuals around the world. We mourn not only the loss of a visionary, but of a deeply generous spirit. Gary helped expand what healing could be, not just as a concept, but as a lived experience. Whatever path you walk in this field, you have almost certainly walked on ground that Gary helped open. We are especially moved by the words of his daughter, his colleague, Tina Craig, who shared that through working alongside her father, she learned not only the mechanics of EFT, but the deeper intention behind it, to make this work accessible, reliable, and grounded in love and integrity. As we honor Gary's life and contributions, we hold his family, friends, and the global EFT community in our thoughts. May we carry forward his spirit of service, generosity, and possibility in all that we do. Gary was an amazing human being. I had the pleasure of going through Gary's training program. His energy, his demeanor, his way of making you feel like he was giving you his full attention, because he was. He was an amazing human being, a creative soul, and I believe this world is poorer for his passing. I encourage you to visit the website that Gary created. That website, palaceofpossibilities.com. palaceofpossibilities.com. I encourage you, visit his website, spend time looking through the resources he created. It is an absolute goldmine of EFT riches. If you're not yet following EFT Tapping Junction or Energy Healing for Wellbeing, I invite you to follow both shows where you get your podcasts. When you follow the shows, you will never miss an episode. You can listen to previous episodes of this show and other shows focused on emotional and physical well-being by visiting us at stressreliefradio.com. If you have questions about anything that we've covered in this episode, or you would like to be in touch for any reason, email me at cartermethod@gmail.com. Until our next visit together, your host here, Stephen Carter, wishing for you and your loved ones blessings in